lay all the pieces out. Group the metal poles into 3 basic groups: the base, the vertical, the screen, and all the extra accessories. To tell the bars apart, it's very easy. There will be 3 curved bars, 2 of which go in the base. The other 2 bars for the base are the same exact 3 slot bars. The vertical consists of 2 longer poles with the anchor holes, another curved bar that matches the curved bar of the base, and the 2 45-degree braces for the vertical part. The parts for the screen are the 2 longer poles with holes drilled on this end and the other end, and also one of them will have the machined part that the infrared touch frame's cord will exit through. The other 2 pieces are the shortest pieces you should have that are straight and 3 T-slots. Again, depending on the size frame, different pieces will be different sizes, but this is the basic setup for all the frames. Of the bolts and the nuts and other accessories that will come with it, you got your 2 screwdrivers, your pivots if you got the pivot kit, your black rubber that you'll use to hold the glass into the frame that you'll supply, the wire covers if you need them to cover the wires coming down from the screen, end caps, anchors. You also want to make sure you have a projector with the projector stand if you'd like, and you'll need your piece of glass. The infrared touch bezel needs to be assembled as per the other video, so please watch that if you need to know how to assemble it. Arrange the base as so. The 2 curved parts will be curved towards the outside. The 3-sided T-slot should be positioned so that the smooth part is on the outside. Take the anchor fastener and notice that one side has a long flange sticking out. This piece will always go on the outside of your bar, like so. Slide the anchors, 2 on each side, like so. Use a 6mm screwdriver and attach. Do this for all 4 of the base ones. Now that you have the base done, it's time to do the vertical part. Lay out the 2 longer poles with the anchor holes towards the bottom. The remaining curved bar should be pointing away from the anchor holes. This bar will be curved nicely so that when it's vertical, it'll be a nice curved surface pointing towards the user. Again, use the anchor fasteners and attach the 2 holes. Taking the 45-degree framing, undo the nut on each bar. On the flat nut part, take one of the 6 springs that you got and push it onto the flat part. Take the vertical part on the other side of the curved part, stick the flat part with the spring into the groove. Slide it up about distance that this will be. Typically about 8 or 9 inches. Do this on each side. Place the vertical piece on the base and take an anchor fastener and attach it as before. Do this to both sides. To attach the 45-degree framing, place the bolt that doesn't have the nut on it at the top. Make sure you also undo the nut on the bottom and slide it into the T-slot. Take the bolt, put it into the nut, and tighten it almost all the way, but enough for it to slide up and down. Line up the nut for this bolt and tighten it together. Do this for the other side. This will give you a very strong frame, so your weight of your screen will be well supported. Now we're going to attach the pivot to the top of the vertical part. You want to make sure that you get the right pivot on the right side. The curved part in the center should be curved towards the user. So in this case, the user stands over here. What that means is that you want the point part of the pivot to be pointing towards the user, so that as you pivot, the screen can go up and down. To attach the pivot, loosen the handle, making slack between this black bolt and the white washer here. You want to slide that into the vertical part at the same time as putting this bolt through the hole. You will need to undo the nut that comes on the bolt so you can screw it in. This isn't needed. Once the nut is off, you can put the black bolt into the T-slot at the same time as screwing the bolt down onto the frame. Tighten it all the way, and your pivot will be ready to use. Now that you've got the vertical part attached to the base, we're going to concentrate on making the screen now. Lay out the two longer pieces and the two shorter pieces as shown. The two shorter pieces are going to go on the inside of the longer piece. Make sure that there's a flat, smooth part facing up. The bottom piece is going to be the one with the machined out slot for the infrared touch frame cord. We're going to attach 3 of the 4 end fasteners in order to slide the glass in that you will supply for the kit. First, we're going to prepare for the pivot that we're going to attach to the screen. To do that, we again need to put the springs on the flat pieces and slide it into the T channel so we'll be able to screw in the bolts. You're going to want to put 2 on each side. Taking an end fastener, you have a bolt and the flat flange piece. Put the bolt through that and screw it onto the shorter piece. Remember, we're doing this only on 2 corners because we still need to slide the glass in. Screw the bolt in for about ½ an inch or so sticking out. You need to make sure, very importantly, that the nub here is pointing away from the center. This is important because if you don't, your glass will hit it from the other side and cause problems. Slide the nut, slide the bolt into the T-slot, making sure again, very importantly, that the nub is on the outside. Slide it in. Use your 5mm screwdriver and tighten it up. Do this on the other part and leave the other side open so we can slide the glass in. You want to make sure that you slide the glass in the right direction. Typically, you laminate thin film rear projection material onto the back side of the piece of glass. That way, when your users are touching the surface, you're not scratching that rear projection material. Make sure that the slot for the infrared touch frame cord still is on the front side where the glass is, not the rear projection material. Again, use the end fasteners and attach the 2 parts here, securing the glass into the frame. For this next part, you're going to want to make sure that the glass part is down. So you're going to want to carefully flip your frame over so that the T-slot sides are all shown. Next, take the rubber part that's going to hold the glass into the frame. It comes in a really long piece, and what you need to do is you need to cut 4 pieces that are the exact length of the insides. The stuff will stretch, so even if you cut it maybe, a few inches short, you can still stretch it into make the whole thing. And that's pretty much recommended. Cut it a few inches short, push it one end, and squeegee it all the way to the other side. You'll notice that it just shoves right into the extra space between the glass and the frame. Do that for all 4 sides, cutting 4 pieces, and your glass will be held in there really well. This is what it looks like when the black rubber pieces are in, holding the glass to the frame. The touch frame should come with some double-sided red foam tape. What you want to do for temporary installation is put a small piece on each of the corners of the infrared touch frame. For more permanent installations, you want to space it out about every 8 or 10 inches. 2 or 3 sides on the longest and 1 or 2 on the shortest. And that will give it the best tracking ability, getting it as close and consistent to the top surface of the glass. You want to make sure you attach the tape to the circuit board side, because when you flip it, you don't want to have that showing. The cable should be exiting the bottom right hand corner of the screen. You'll notice, once you flip the glass part back over, the glass is on top, there's a groove down here for the cabling. What you want to do is loosen this corner again. Sliding the cable into the slot, and tightening it back up. What we're going to do next is attach the screen to the stand. You're going to make sure you have your 5mm screwdriver and 4 bolts from the T-nut bag on you. I typically keep them in my pocket if I'm doing it with one person. Otherwise, have somebody else to help you. Put the screwdriver and the bolts in your pocket. Grab the screen. Carefully place it on the stand. Take the bolts and put them in the holes. Once all 4 bolts are hand tightened, move them all the way down to the end of the screen and screw them in with the 5mm screwdriver. You may want to lift up on the screen so that you're not screwing into the metal but actually screwing into the bolt. You'll know what I mean when you do it. If you do this and it doesn't go anymore, you'll notice that the screen may start walking back and forth. That's because the bolt is riding in and out of that channel. You want to make sure you stay off of the channel and just put the bolt into the nut. Attaching the end caps is really easy. Taking the end cap, you can either use a plastic fastener or one of the 12mm bolts. Either way, the cap goes onto any of the end caps using the bolt or the fastener. You attach them on and give it that nice, clean, professional look. The wire covers can be used to hide the wires as they go down the frame. And you're pretty much done. Just undo the pivots, adjust the screen to what you want, line up your projected image, plug it into your computer, and you're ready to go.